Welcome to the Healing Manifest podcast, the one true place for you to learn to become your best self. Each week we have a new guest that we bring on here and helps you learn through their journey on how to become your best self and learn new ways that you can just get new keys for yourself in your life. We have done a lot of great episodes as of late. We're getting a lot of new subscribers. More people are watching the videos. So the more people who are watching it, who are also subscribing, the more it helps YouTube and their algorithm to help boost the plays for us. So the more that you subscribe, it does a lot for us, and it's the only thing I'd ever ask for you guys. That being said, I really am excited to welcome our new guest here. She's a DJ as well. She has done a lot of great stuff within the music industry. Hosts a lot of great parties over at the Drake Underground. You can see her DJ throughout many different parties as well. Also, she's someone who I find very great within the health and wellness communities, as well as in the e-commerce and Forex communities. Please welcome my amazing guest here, Shannyn Hill.
Hey.
You're so shy. Like,
Appreciate that intro.
You do so much amazing things, honestly, and I think people in different sides, like, they get to understand just a little bit of what you do, but there's so much great of what you've done, and people who are close to you, they see the little things as well. And for the people who are just getting to know you for the first time, just walk us through even your journey to becoming a DJ and how that was for you.
Okay. So my journey actually started as a DJ. I would say it was probably in high school. In high school, I had my laptop. I used to use virtual DJ with literally just my laptop and make mixes. And I'd throw a couple house parties and give it to some friends for their house parties. And I would make like reggae mixes for my dads when we were having barbecues, or like, you know, honestly, Sunday morning in Jamaican household, we're cleaning and listening to reggae. So that's how my journey started. And then I started really diving into it in 2020. During lockdown, we had nothing else to do, so I was really just binge watching on Netflix and came across a show called The Get Down. I'm not sure if you've seen it. Yeah, it's iconic, super iconic, and it talks about the story of Grandmaster Flash and how he turned two turntables into an instrument. And I was like, wow, this is sick. Yeah. This is so cool. I need to get my own DJ equipment. So I went on Amazon and bought my small Pioneer SB3, and that's the beginning of it, and now we're here. I
was just about to even ask, like, what that was literally, as you said it, that was gonna be my first question of what is the first DJ?
What controller?
The controller you got.
SB3. I don't even think they make them anymore.
I don't even know. Like, the first one I had, you know what's funny? I used to myself DJ just on a computer. Yeah. No controller at all.
Like live, like 4 people?
Yeah. Okay. Literally, it's funny. The first gig. So myself, I used to DJ as well, and I learned through my dad and my older brother. They DJ'd a bit, and I seen my older brother. He DJ'd just on virtual DJ off the laptop at home.
Oh, sick!
And I was in a situation where someone that I worked in the studio with, they had an event, and they literally messaged me like a day before and was like, "Hey, I can't make it. Do you know how to DJ? Can you do it?" And I'm like, I'm gonna do, like, I know how to kind of do this, but it's like, I'm telling you, this is what I gotta do. And you know what's crazy is it went very well, and people were like very receptive to it. And then I got my first controller.
With just your laptop?
Just the laptop.
Wow, how was that? Like,
you know what?
It's nervous being in front of people.
I felt comfortable just playing around enough of doing it that way. And luckily my set was only like, I think 20 minutes or 30 minutes.
Okay.
So I had enough of hits where I was like, okay, I'm gonna stay in this range here, sync, play, go. And I knew I was like, okay, I'm doing it in this specific way. But even then, when I compare it to how I was when I got a professional controller, everything, night and day. It's still night and day. You get so much more control when you literally have the controller there.
Exactly. It's such a difference.
And so it sounds like you had a lot of, between now and when you were in high school, you had a lot of time where you were kind of practicing, and there was that space where you allowed it to kind of come to you. And for that first, like, I guess, party that you did, where people, they were just like, what, did someone just come to you and say, hey, we just need DJ, can you just do it? Or was it just like a party came and you were like
back in high school?
Back in high school, yeah.
I don't remember what it was. It might have been spring break, honestly, where I would just invited people over. And they're like, this is sick. I want one. So then I was sending them for their backyard parties, send them a couple of mixes. But yeah, that's how it started.
So it seems like a lot of your beginning with it, you allowed it to come to you, but at the same time, you gave enough of like a taste tester for people where you just knew it's like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I have all these people that are around me. And high school is such a great time where you can really start something and you allow them to be able to say, okay, this is your taste tester, this is your sampler. It's almost like you did your opening night almost without even knowing you did an opening night. And I noticed you were saying though, like you did it a lot in high school and then you came back to around the pandemic. What was it like for you in that in-between time, or what made you take that in-between time where you stopped doing it to doing it again?
So initially the reason why I got into it, and also a little production too, was just for my mental health. Literally just to do something creative, something different. Because I used to draw a lot too, like that was another outlet, but I'm like, I want something different. So I really got into that and dove in, and it did help. And then I shied away from it for a bit in the years in between. I dabbled into photography. I was into e-commerce. I had school in between too, post-secondary. And I was just kind of figuring out ways, just getting my feet wet in different things, just seeing what I would like, honestly. And I got reintroduced to DJing again. And I'm like, wow, I actually really enjoyed when I did that in that time of my life. And then I started doing it again, and it brought back it was a mix of emotions, because it reminded me of why I started, because I started in a really low place, but I also remember that it got me out of it. So I was balancing emotions at the beginning, but ultimately it was just fun to do. So that's why I guess
you came back.
I came back to it. Yeah.
And what I like is, and I think the thing of a lot of us we forget as we get older, is the thing that really pushed a lot of people who started something in high school is you just need to have fun and do things. And sometimes you just got to separate the concept of, I have to do something to make money from it, and just, I need to just do something, see if I like it, just enjoy little things and just see what gravitates and happens. And I know it's even for yourself, and I imagine this is where the music aspect ties a lot with your involvement with like mental health and like wellness and everything. How much would you say that journey of yourself just DJing, like, I guess more so what I want to ask is, walk us through that journey of your music career and your recognition of your own like mental health and getting yourself into a better place.
So during that time, initially when I had first got into DJing and mixing, I had to do a lot of like inner work, and this was during the space when I had stopped. So I was finding other things to do, trying to find, ways to ignite my soul, for lack of a better phrase, just to, make me excited and, bring some excitement to my life. So I started reading a lot, diving into wellness books, also financial books too, and learning about meditation, learning about journaling. And there was actually one practice that I did that really helped me elevate my mental from here to up here, was literally writing every day and every night 5 things I liked about myself. At the time, I had not liked myself at all. I'll be honest. I didn't like myself at all. So I literally was lying at the time in my journal every day, every night. But I understood the importance of feeding and nurturing the subconscious, because eventually once the subconscious, it's hooked in there, like it'll be in the front of your mind. So that's what I did for maybe like 2 years, continuously, just every day, every night, just writing things I liked about myself, what I loved about myself, what I was grateful for. And then eventually it brought me to a place where I was like, wow, like I'm really grateful for life on a whole. I'm grateful to be here, confident. I do have self-love now. And yeah, I don't know if that answered the question.
No, that was really good, and it's interesting, and I find there's a good amount of people that when I interview, like, that is a very common thing. I find it's very strong and powerful of just writing a few things that you like about yourself, things that you like that you're doing, and it is almost like it's giving yourself that love language with yourself. And it's funny, I was actually just watching something earlier, and it was saying that a lot of how we wire our mind is how we speak to ourselves. And sometimes we focus so much, we don't realize how much the little things that we say matter.
Yeah.
And we say little negative things, but it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so stupid. And it could even just be as simple as just the slang that we use with our friends, and how powerful that can be, what we call our friends, what we end up calling ourselves with that. And what happens is you end up wiring your brain. And because your brain's used to navigating this word, and it doesn't fully disassociate as much as we think that it does, of, let's say, for example, if I'm like, yo, that thing right there, that was bad. The disassociation process that your mind does of separating, that's bad, as that's a good thing and that's a bad thing. There's a disassociation process. There's a wiring that happens in the brain.
For sure, yeah. I've been trying to. Sorry, did you complete your thought?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I've actually been trying to become more conscious of the way that I speak, and even speak to myself, just in general. Just like you said, for example, like the way how language is nowadays. It's like we say something's bad, like, oh, that's bad, or that's sick.
Yeah.
But like, sick is not a good thing. That means like you're ill, right? But you're saying it's sick, but you're trying to compliment it. It's cool. So I'm trying to become conscious of the things I say, instead of like, saying cool, sick, or bad. I just say like, wow, this is really great. This is wonderful. This is, and just trying to find new words to replace that, because just like you said, that disconnect isn't like, if you're not aware of it, like it could actually really damage you. And
you notice, and I feel like you yourself, as you were in that process of finding the new words, and you say it with people, not just yourself, like how kind of different it feels or odd it feels, and even their reaction to it. And it's like, if you really think about it, if all these things that we're saying as something great is so common and natural in our mind, why is it when you say the word great, it's like, oh.
It's like, oh, really? Like, oh. I didn't know that.
And I also wanted to get into something you were mentioning there earlier, of how you said not just with that of just the writing process and how that helped, but I want to know is also, I find there's a process of within growing that we start to recognize things, and as we start to learn, like, oh wow, like I like how, like you said earlier, I'm actually starting to like these things about myself. And as we start to do this like rewiring process, there's little things that we start realizing, like, oh wow, like I didn't notice this about me. Like I didn't notice these little things, and how I needed to heal this, and this thing here. For yourself, I guess more so, the first thing that comes to your mind is, as you're going through this process, what was one of the biggest things you learned for yourself of like, wow, I actually did need to rewire this part. I need to learn this here.
I will say this actually happened recently, because as much as I've been on this journey for like, it's been like 7-8 years, it wasn't until recently that it's starting to really click. So earlier this year, I had a moment where I was just naturally expressing gratitude for just the things in my life. And then I reflected, I was like, wait, a lot of the things that I wanted to become, I'm actually being now. And I'm noticing that the way I'm moving, the way I'm acting is like with intention. And that's one thing I journaled too, that I want to be someone that moves with intention. I want to be someone that's grateful and understands the importance of expressing gratitude and just all these things. And I started realizing that, like, wait, I'm actually being that person now. So a lot of the things were starting to manifest around me in alignment with having that mindset of being positive and just being grateful.
I can also relate with that, because it's like, we say so much a lot of times where it's like, I'm not here. Little do we realize that we're kind of there. And even then, it's not till we start to realize that being here is literally just a mindset. It almost feels like, and the being rich, doing all things that we want to do when we're rich, that's all just a mindset. And you can end up getting $1 million thrown in front of you on your lap. But if you are still this person, you're still going to at that point be like, I'm not here.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a big thing. I really like how you're mentioning that there, and it ties a lot to what I mentioned for people as well. And I guess for yourself, because like a lot of people, they look at you and they see like, wow, like you're doing Drake Underground, you're doing all these great events with DJing, and a lot of people are going to look at you like, yeah, you're at this place. And how I know it's a process itself of hearing these compliments, people saying these things about you, and getting that comfort of being like, okay, I'm here. Like, how was it for yourself when you first started hearing a lot of these people like come to you?
At first I was like, I honestly to this day still deal with imposter syndrome. Not as bad as I used to be, but it's still pretty bad. So at first I'm like, I didn't think I deserved the praises that I was getting. And I feel like the reason why I felt that way, that I didn't think I was deserving, was because my life was, and honestly still is, there's so much duality to it. It's like something great is up here, but then on the flip side, there's something bad. And I can share a story that really just, I guess, throws, what's the phrase I'm looking for? It really just kind of exemplifies the duality of life. So last year, I had the opportunity to DJ the WNBA game in Canada. It was the first game ever. And it was great. I was on a high, and I was like, I felt great. I was very grateful. And I went out to dinner after, went to pay. My card declined.
No way.
And I was just like, oh, this life, you know? Like, that experience, it didn't get to my head to the point where, you know, I felt like I was above, you know, everyone, or just, I didn't feel egotistic. But when my card declined, it really humbled me. I'm like, well, I got some more work to do, you know? So that's, I feel like I sidetracked.
No worries. You're answering it there, where it's like that association with people when they're coming to you and they're saying like, wow, like you're great, you're like all these amazing things. So I can imagine in that moment as you're DJing the WNBA game, and I remember seeing that on your story, and I was like, wow, like, dude, like look at you go.
But
and
life happens. It's life.
There's so much behind the behind the scenes. It looks
good, but then behind the scenes, you're like,
people don't know.
You really don't know what people are going through. Like, you don't.
And I guess what are some of the things that a lot of people, they just see it as like, especially when I find when someone's really good at something, they can make that task, they can make that job look so easy. Like, it's so easy to get there because you make it look so easy. What are some of the things that you would say when it comes to DJing that people need to understand, of like just the other side of it that makes you guys like, yo guys, like I'm human too, like the hardest sides to it?
Ooh. I'm probably one of the most introverted people you'll ever meet. But my job, like, you would think otherwise. Like, there's a whole other side to it. Like, I'm literally meeting thousands of people every week, being around so many people, exchanging energy with so many people that, I just need, I can speak for myself. I'm not sure about other DJs, but I need my time to reset. So I'm grateful for every time I get to just go home or like literally just sit outside the venue. Sometimes I literally have to sit out the venue and just like thaw out and just like really take in like what happened, what I just did, and then go on my way. But taking that time to myself is what's really helped ground me in this industry. And just accepting that it's okay if I'm not super extroverted. That's something that I actually just recently came to terms with. I just thought that if I'm a DJ, like, I have to be out there. I have to be extroverted. I have to always be outside. And, like, part of that's true. You know, you got to be open to connect and network and be outside and get into venues and such. But Like, it's okay if that's not you every day. Like, you could take a break, you could step back. And that's one thing I realized. I'm like, yeah, like, it's okay if I'm not. I don't have to be that person. I can literally just be myself and still DJ and still kill it and come home and just eat my ice cream and chill.
That's a big thing. I think that transfers even outside of DJing is the concept that being outside your comfort zone and being natural and still being yourself. There is such like a middle ground you really just got to find of like, yes, you have to do these things, but it doesn't mean you have to be outside of you at the same time.
Facts.
And there's a lot of that happens. And I know, especially with DJing, it's like, it's live. And like,
it's live.
It's almost like you're on, like you're looking at everything like, this has to go right. This has to go right. Mm-hmm. It's not just I push this button, push that button. You got to push it with the right timing and everything.
One thing that I've learned over the course of the years of doing this is make sure anytime I'm pressing a button, just do it with intention and make sure it's always on beat.
Yep.
Because if I mess up, at least it's on beat.
Yeah.
You know, like, it doesn't sound too bad. Like, you know, you can recover if it's on beat. So that's one of the hacks I've learned.
And like, it's just I guess one of the last things I wanted to get into here with it is like, there's so much, like I was saying earlier, there's so much sides of you. And for a lot of people, a lot of what people just get, it's the brand that they see online of DJ and get to know the DJ. And with you having so much outside of that, what are some things, especially with the wellness, everything that you're doing, what are some things people can expect to come from you over time? Or if there isn't anything in the moment that you're like, okay, this is what's coming, what are things that you have been working on dabbling into as well?
Yeah, so I've actually been trying to share a lot more of my lifestyle on my socials. People have been liking that. Just been sharing my vlogs, just what I've been doing. They're great. Just because I'm a human, I'm not just a DJ. You know, I have other things, other hobbies, and other things that I do. And I enjoy people, like, I enjoy bringing people on the journey with me. Let me do that again. I enjoy bringing people on the journey with me. So I feel like it's important to share those little things.
Yeah.
And those aspects of me. And one thing I do like to share about and touch on is the importance of mental health and making sure you are in a good, mentally well space before you do anything. And honestly, just putting yourself first. And let me just gather my thoughts again. I do plan on sharing more content on that just because, again, I think it's just so important. We're in an age where social media is like really taking over, and it's affecting our mental health like severely. Whether we want to admit it or not, like if you're out anywhere, you literally see people just doom scrolling, and I'm one of those people. Yeah. But I'm conscious of it and aware of it, and I'm trying to steer away from that and just find other things to indulge my time in. And I like to self-educate myself in a lot of things. One of the things that I taught myself first was DJing. Now I'm really trying to learn about different avenues of income. So I've been diving into like cryptocurrency, like looking into that just because I could tell like that's just where the world is going now. Just learning new things about that and learning about production too. Diving into production, I want to eventually start releasing my own music. What else? Thinking. That might be it.
You know, like I really like a lot like what you're saying there, and what it sounds like a lot of it is learning just doesn't end. The journey of mental health, it never ends.
Yeah.
And you're constantly putting yourself in a position that no matter what it is, there's like every day there's something you're focusing on learning or getting more knowledge on. What I want to know is, and when I ask this, it's not so much of the biggest thing, but if you were to think, I guess even what you maybe something you thought today, just one thing that you learned yourself, some advice you had to give yourself that you feel like you could give to people.
I feel like I have like two things jungling in my head.
Do it. Say them both.
So the first thing is we can achieve anything we want for ourselves in our lives while still staying. I'll say it again. The first thing is we can achieve anything we want for ourselves in our lives while still staying true to us. I strongly believe that. And there's another phrase that I coined myself that I live by is act as if until you become. And I touched on it a bit earlier where I was speaking on how I started becoming exactly who I wanted to be a few years ago. And I feel like the key of really wanting and getting what you desire is acting as if you already have it. Mm-hmm. Acting as if it's already in your life, it's already in front of you, you're already living the life you want, you know, and just really feeling those emotions now. That way, when you are feeling those emotions internally, it'll reflect in your external world.
Mm-hmm. It's like seeing that routine that you want, everything that you want, just doing that and just being that person right away. And thank you so much. And that's why I love having you, and honestly being able to have you and discuss this. I definitely want to even have you on more episodes because there's so much even more little things I wanted to get into with you.
Yeah.
It's funny, like I initially was like,
if you guys want a part 2, let us know.
Definitely comment it. Please comment and like. This is what helps us know who to bring back. So that's all I'm saying.
I appreciate you having me though.
Honestly appreciate it. And it's funny, I remember I initially was like, we were both connecting so much on the concept of one, just not quitting and how hard not quitting is, and how sometimes when all the failures can hit so much, and failure can make you fear doing something and want to get so much in that, and there wasn't enough time even to get into that, and there's so much things I'd love to be able to talk with you. So if you do want that part 2 episode where we talk about getting over the fears, understanding that what happens in the mind space of quitting and not wanting to quit, please let us know. Thank you so much. Please follow her at DJ Shannyn Hill, the top DJ in Toronto, by the way. Please give her a follow. Please like this video. Thank you guys so much. Peace.
Thank you.